Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the PagerDuty Twitch channel. I'm Mandy Walls, DevOps advocate here at PagerDuty. If you are new to our channel, make sure you follow us here on Twitch. We're at twitch.tv/PagerDuty. If you're joining us today on Twitter, like our tweet so we know you're out there. If you want to ask questions or make comments, we'll be watching the chat on the Twitch channel. So you can join us over here, click through our code of conduct, and leave comments in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. So today, our panel for Women's History Month is with a group of amazing women software developers from around PagerDuty, and they're going to share with us what they do at PagerDuty, what brought them into software development, and sort of what inspires them in their job. So we'll just kick it off. Let's start with Juliana.
Hello, I'm Juliana. I'm on the cloud automation team here at PagerDuty. I primarily work on a pretty new feature to PagerDuty, actually. It's Rundeck Actions. So basically, it allows you to run custom actions on the services that you have alerting with PagerDuty in times of incidents. It's a really cool feature. I'm super excited about it. And I actually wish that we had something like this at the last company that I was at. It would be super helpful for those kind of like just things that we always know that we have to do depending on what kind of incident it is. Like just take the human out of the equation, like automate the thing. So yeah, that's what I primarily do here at PagerDuty. Would you like to hop into like life story about my software development journey?
Yeah, tell us how you got to PagerDuty.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so my getting into software engineering path was basically just stemmed from me kind of like not knowing what I was doing as a youth. I didn't have like the traditional like going to college straight out of high school path. Like I don't have a computer science degree or anything like that. I kind of just took classes in college willy-nilly without really knowing what I wanted to do. And by the time I realized that most of my interests were in STEM, I had accrued a bunch of credits in like pottery and like arts, like history, things like that. So yeah, I was kind of like having a crisis, and my friend was like, you should go to a boot camp. You can learn about software engineering this way. So that's what I did. I went to a boot camp. My early career was more around like front end work. I worked for a design agency, so not a lot of back end heavy work, mostly about like flashy UI things. From there, I went to New Relic and kind of focused on like monitoring and user admin stuff over there. And that led me to PagerDuty. Basically, we just use PagerDuty all the time at New Relic, like getting paged 3 a.m., super familiar. I felt like I already worked at PagerDuty looking at the PagerDuty so often in my life. So yeah, and I've just loved it here. Everyone's great. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. Neha, how about you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Neha Wadhwa. I'm an engineering manager here at PagerDuty. I manage event orchestration team within our event intelligence group. As far as what we do, so we keep hearing from our customers that they are dealing with unimaginable levels of noise and complexity. So my team is responsible for building features that provide them with flexible tools to optimize how events are processed and how we could automate event management.
Awesome. And how did you come to be at PagerDuty?
So I'll start from a little while back, maybe from 90s. So I won't say that working in software development was a childhood dream. I think this field chose me. My initial exposure to software development started during late 90s in high school, when my parents encouraged me to take computer classes. This concept was new back then. And I think I got lucky coming from like India, typical Indian parents encouraging their children to take a lot of STEM courses. But then I soon realized that it was fun. Like I remember playing around with HTML and C language. And I fondly remember drawing triangles in C using for loops. I think that kind of cemented my interest in software development and solving problems using technology. And that's when I knew that I wanted to do a bachelor's in computer science and pursue a career in the field of technology. And that's how the journey started. I would say I worked across multiple domains, across multiple technologies, starting my career in Java, moving from Java to .NET, working on like very early version of .NET, ASP.NET, then MVC, then .NET Core, and then eventually moving to front-end side of things as well. And after 10 to 12 years of coding, I did want to explore people aspect. And that's when I decided to like work very closely with people, mentoring, coaching, and working very closely with product as well. And that eventually landed me here at PagerDuty.
Awesome. Fantastic. Santoshi, you're at the opposite end of your career, right? You're one of our newer employees.
I am, yeah. So I am a software engineer on the mobile team at PagerDuty. I've been at PagerDuty for around 2 years, and it's my first full-time job out of university. So very new still. But yeah, I work on the Android app specifically. So if you get paged using the app, then I'm to blame for that. But yeah, I guess like I could go a little bit into my journey.
Yeah.
I have a more traditional journey into tech. High school, like in high school, I was part of this thing called the Specialist High Skills Major Program, which it was a voluntary thing where you could just like take extra credit, not extra, but like specific credits that satisfy these requirements. And then at the end, when you graduate, you get this extra little diploma with it. It was actually in business though, but for some reason, one of the courses that fulfilled the requirements was computer science. And I, for some reason, got it into my head that it would be a bird course. So I decided to take it, and it wasn't a bird course, but I did have a lot of fun, and it did like come kind of naturally. So I was like, okay, maybe this is something that I am interested in. And I decided to stop my business dreams and go into computer science instead, and took computer science in university.
Awesome.
Yeah, but specifically for PagerDuty, I love telling the story because it's just like goes to show networking. But I used to intern at this place that used to sublet from the Toronto office, PagerDuty, right? And on my last day of my internship there, we had like a common shared bathroom that everyone used. So I went there and I was washing my hands, and beside me, the agile coach to the mobile team at PagerDuty was also beside me, and she was washing her hands too. And I was like, let me strike up a conversation. And she was just like, yeah, like we're hiring interns. And I was like, I do mobile. Like, I just finished my internship here. Like, I'll apply. And she was like, yeah, do it. Go ahead. And that's how I got here, that's how I heard about PagerDuty, and that's how I got here.
That's a fantastic story. You just don't know, right?
Like, exactly. You never know where you're going to meet someone.
Oh my goodness. And Hanali, how about you?
For sure. My name is Hanale. I'm a senior engineer at PagerDuty, and I've been here for about 3 years. I work on the App Foundations team, so basically enabling developers outside of PagerDuty and making new apps and integrations that work with PagerDuty. So if you have a support team that needs to interact with tickets and do things with PagerDuty that way, those are the kinds of things that I help enable. How I got to PagerDuty is, it's kind of a long story, but I'll try to be as short as I can because I know we don't have forever. It was actually fairly typical. I managed to take some computer science classes when I was in high school, and that led me to taking computer science in university. Some idols that I'd like to call out along the way were B'Elanna Torres and Star Trek Voyager. I will not hear anything that anybody has to say about Star Trek Voyager. I know it's not the perfect Star Trek, but it's my favorite. And also my mom also does software, so that was really useful to have as an idol growing up, or an example. Anyways, and it took me way too long still to finish my university degree. I definitely had the year of shame where I had to go back one more year for just one more class. But it was worth it because I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without finishing that. And I'm actually up in Thunder Bay, Ontario, but I ended up moving to Toronto for work, and that's how I ended up at PagerDuty. And now I'm actually back in Thunder Bay, Ontario, working remotely.
Awesome. So let me follow up with that. Like, what do you find most interesting about your job day to day?
I mean, this is going to be so typical, but it's just solving problems. It's you get to spend time digging into why things are the way they are, trying to explain why the way they are and how they can be better, and also just trying to boil down very complex technical concepts into things that the product owner can understand, so that the business can understand why we need these things. Like, these are the kinds of things that I do really enjoy at work.
Yeah, awesome. Santoshi, how about you? What do you enjoy most about your current job?
Yeah, definitely very similar to what Hannah said. Just like getting in, digging into that problem, like having like a good dedicated time to do that. That's what I enjoy the most. I just like I don't know, it's just so like rewarding.
Juliana, anything else for you there?
Yeah, I think just like over time realizing that you have to like plan for the unknown. Like anytime I'm solving a problem and I like think that I have the initial solution, it's like, all right, now let's think about what I haven't thought about, because surely there is more. And then past that, even more. And then you get to a point where it's like, there are going to be things that you just didn't even think of that you couldn't plan for. And it's like kind of the whole point of PagerDuty, right? It's like, you need to have a plan for when all the other things that you planned for have fallen through. Yeah, I think it's been a great life lesson too. Like, it's kind of philosophical, like applying to my life too. It's like, do your best, but plan for things to fall through and like know what to do when that happens. You know, you have to have some resiliency. So
yes, resiliency is one of our big words. Definitely. How about you with your a little bit of management experience under your belt? What do you find most interesting about your day-to-day job?
Solving problems definitely resonates with me as well. As we all know, technology is ever evolving.
Yeah.
There are so many interesting problems to solve across multiple business functions. And this is like a constant change, which is amazing learning opportunity at the end of the day. It keeps your mind fresh. It keeps your job interesting. And one thing I love about PagerDuty and my role here is that we believe in customer devotion and providing best experience to our customers by proactively solving their pain points. My team and I are committed to identifying the needs of our customers and building world-class solutions using cutting-edge technologies. And Mandy, what you mentioned as far as manager aspect is concerned, I would say as an engineering manager, I love working with people. I believe in being a champion of my team's work. I'm passionate about building up teams and helping individuals achieve their fullest potential in their careers by providing them with coaching and support.
That's fantastic. So let's have a bit of brag time. Is there something, an accomplishment, a project, a feature that you ship that you're particularly proud of that you can share with us?
Great question, Mandy. I'm super proud of this amazing work of my team in getting this new feature called Event Orchestration out for our customers. In the field of incident response, we have a storm of incoming data that is quite complex and difficult to process, which makes it even harder to find the root cause and get to resolution quickly. All this effort spent on sifting through the noise, processing events, and gathering context only leads to a lot of wasted time. Event orchestration helps you make sense of that data. So you can see it as a decision engine that takes all the data coming from monitoring tools and then adds complex logic, rules nesting to determine the next best action for events. Not only does it reduce noise, speeds up time to resolution, provides automation, it also helps our customers focus on what matter most.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for that. We've had the product manager, Frank, on for a bit about event orchestration. I put the link to the main pages of it in the chat for folks. If you'd like to try that out, we'd love to get you into that feature set because it's going to be really powerful for folks. Hanali, what about you? Is there something that you want to brag about for?
Oh, for sure. My team actually just finished a big project in terms of our authentication infrastructure. We previously were dependent on a library for Ruby on Rails called Doorkeeper, and we've moved over now to a new authentication service called Curity, and just recently we got to drop the Doorkeeper library from web entirely, and that felt amazing. Like like most engineers, deleting code is the best thing, and we deleted over 2,000 lines of code as part of that project, and it was great.
That's a big one, right? Like it's one of those crazy things that like people I don't know that people outside of software development really get it. Like taking all that old stuff out of there and refreshing things. It's like pulling weeds out of your garden, right? When what's left is all your beautiful flowers. So,
100%. It's
totally.
so easy to skimp on that in software development because unlike like with buildings and stuff like that, where you do all your demo up front, in software you do all your demo at the end.
Yes.
So it's easy to skimp on it.
It absolutely is. Don't want to pull out a load-bearing library, but yeah.
Exactly.
Satoshi, how about you?
So this is more of like a individual brag, I guess.
Sure.
But I got to do 4 months. I recently switched into the data eco team on a temporary basis for around 4 months, and that was big for me because like up until then I had never done any data engineering courses. All my internships, all my work experience was in mobile. So just being able to do that and like succeeding and not just like not knowing what's happening, I'm really proud of myself for being able to do that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Absolutely. Juliana, how about you?
Yeah, I talked about it a little bit already, but really, like, I'm just stoked about the feature that my team is working on. Like I said, the team that I was on at my previous company was kind of like at the heart of a lot of other things, and so like we had a lot of like if anything happened in the architecture, like our services were going to be affected, and we just got paged all the time for things, and there were definitely like a number of problems that would arise that like the team like we know like when this thing's happening we need to like deploy this thing or we need to change this thing temporarily until we can like get up in this other way. And it was just kind of a slog having to do that every single time. And the idea of being able to like click a button that just like does all of that stuff for you on the incident page would have been so nice. So I mean, I'm not necessarily in the position yet where I would be using that all the time since I'm working on the feature and it's new. But I'm just happy that we're working on something like that other people can use to make incidents like a little bit less painful and faster, so you can like focus on fixing the problem instead of this like in between mitigation.
Yeah, absolutely. When we were talking to Frank, we actually he has a stat that like some large number of the events that come into PagerDuty, like that go to people, are resolved in less than 5 minutes. So we know that there's folks out there that you don't need to do like any kind of deep troubleshooting. They know what their problem is, and being able to like just give them that additional piece of a feature so they could just click that and everything goes back to where it was. That's fantastic.
Yeah, or it's like maybe it doesn't auto resolve, but it's like something that you need to do something small, then just kind of wait for the problem to resolve, like things like that. Yeah, totally. It's super helpful.
Awesome.
Excited to see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to help so many folks, definitely. So let's round out some of our time here with something that you're excited about right now. Are there things that you see in the industry that you're excited to take a look at? Are there new technologies or new frameworks or things that are coming up that you want to take a look at or anything like that? Satoshi, can we start with you on that one? Is there anything that looks exciting?
There are lots of things that look exciting, but I think particularly for me, it's not really like a specific tool or anything, but I'm really excited to learn more about iOS in general, just because I work so related to that. I feel like it would be really useful, and there's like so many new things coming out as well that I'm like excited to get my hands on that.
Awesome. Neha, how about you?
I would like to build upon what I mentioned initially about event orchestration. I'm really excited about what event intelligence has to offer. Incident responders are at ground zero when events come in, and it's a stressful, chaotic situation when you know that business is impacted and you're flooded with storm of alerts. So I believe that platforms like PagerDuty, tied with event intelligence, can help organizations achieve fewer incidents through noise reduction and event orchestration, freeing up time for like important things like innovation. And I'm really excited about what event intelligence is going to be building this year. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Fantastic. Juliana?
Yeah, it's kind of random, but like I too am interested in iOS development, and specifically like the web. I feel like web is like just kind of open for everyone pretty much. Like if you can host something, you can like have a space on web. But iOS, I don't know much about Android, but iOS is like it's there's a barrier to entry to like get an app in the App Store. And I'm really wondering what happens with that in the next few years, if there's going to be like some other company that makes it easier to get apps in the App Store, like we make that more of a like easier process for people to get in there. But yeah, just these like siloed kind of like native applications. I'm waiting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff there, given there's been some court cases and some other things that have gone on between Apple and some other providers. So it'll definitely be interesting. Hanalei, what are you excited about?
I'm on the front end side. I've been keeping an eye on Svelte.js,
Okay.
SVELTE,
Mhm.
just because I'm tired of writing React boilerplate and all that kind of stuff. Also, it feels like none of it really works together. Like it just looks so clean and so tidy, and so I'm not sure if it's like got a full framework yet, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, I confess I don't know much about Node and like that entire ecosystem. It just feels like everything over there is a moving target, and there's like all
That's
kinds
100% true.
All kinds of stuff going on in that community. So yeah, absolutely, that sounds awesome. So let's we have a few more minutes here. Neha has another meeting to go to, but we're super happy that folks got a chance to join us today. So to round us out, let's talk a bit about like what and thanks in the chat. Bliarg posted about Svelte for folks that are interested in that.
That's me.
If you you're so sneaky. Okay. So there you go. You've got svelte.dev to check that out if you're interested in that. That sounds great. And I saw something posted today, maybe about their user conference or something coming up. So lots of traction there, it sounds like. So what's something that either maybe you recommend that folks are like take a look at or learn about, or something that to keep in mind? And honestly, like soft skills too. Like, what do you find has been most valuable to you in your journey so far? Or like, what's a skill you hope to work on in the future as you expand your career? So things that are sort of looking forward for yourselves and for other folks that might be interested in what we do here. Juliana, do you want to kick us off on that one?
Yeah. I personally would love to get into more like SRE stuff in the future. And I think we're like sort of moving away from this time where there's like this separation between like DevOps or SRE and development. And even when there's dedicated teams, I feel like the engineer is kind of expected to know some of those skills that like glue all of our systems together. And I'm assuming as we go forward, that's just going to be even more the case. So yeah, that's something I would want to learn. And I think if anyone else wanted to just get a head start on that, it wouldn't hurt them in their career for sure.
Yeah, we talked a bit about that on yesterday's panel with some SRE folks about, where those lines are and how they're kind of blurring between all those job titles. So
yeah, for sure. And like there's usually people around that like, are actual experts in the field, and you can like ask them questions and stuff. But it feels like kind of a delicate space to just like sort of know what's going on. Like
yeah.
It seems like having a better depth of knowledge would be safer. So yeah.
Awesome. So you know where your code's gonna live and what that actually is. Yeah. Santoshi, how about you?
So this is kind of like more of a generic answer, I guess, but more than like a particular skill or anything, because things are always changing and evolving. I think like being open to learn is really important. Like, I think that's what really gets you further on in your career. And because like the things I learned in university, it's not really like relevant to my day-to-day right now. So it's a lot of like self-learning and just self-growing, and just having that like open attitude is really important.
Yeah, definitely. I can say I have never needed to think about tuples after finishing my undergrad. Like, it just has not been part of my life. And for that, I might be grateful. So absolutely. Neva, how about you?
So for me, as I mentioned earlier, this landscape around technology is ever changing. And I won't say that it holds specifically true for software development, but the world is changing rapidly, and you need to adapt to that changing environment. So people might want to take STEM courses and might want to get their toes dipped in the waters of coding. But eventually, I think perseverance and hard work will make it more rewarding, as you are allowing yourself to keep learning every step of the way and acquiring new skills as you grow up the ladder. So at the end of the day, I would say, apart from building technical skills, it's equally important to incorporate what people call soft skills. This would help you in voicing your opinion confidently, pitching your ideas in group settings, and marketing yourself better.
Yeah, definitely. And like, software development isn't a solo activity. Like, you feel like, oh yes, you've got two hands and one keyboard, and that's how things are going to get into the computer, but it's still very much a collaborative place to be working.
Yeah, and those are some important muscles to build as you're growing up the ladder.
Yeah, definitely. Hanale, what are you looking at?
It definitely same to everything that was just said. But also, I wanted to touch briefly about how that can feed into imposter syndrome. And it's okay. Like so important to know that imposter syndrome is not your fault. It is the system around you that creates imposter syndrome. So if you're feeling that, that's definitely something that it's not just your responsibility to solve. It doesn't make sense for anyone to expect that you know everything. Like, I'm a senior engineer at PagerDuty. I know I don't know everything. So being comfortable asking questions, making sure that your team is psychologically safe, like those kinds of things are so important, especially as you get more senior. And one of the things that I'm definitely looking forward to is working on more projects that span across multiple teams, like working on bigger and bigger things that have bigger and bigger impacts at the company.
That sounds great. Sounds very exciting. So that'll just about wrap us up. We're at the end of our time. Ladies, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. This has been great. We'd love to hear more from folks out there. If you think this all sounds pretty amazing, PagerDuty's hiring. So little plug there for our careers page. I will say there are CAP positions open. So the CAP is our internship program. So if you're out there and you're looking for an internship, check that out. Those are also listed on the careers page. We'd love to have more folks come in and learn from these ladies and from the rest of our team. So thank you everybody for joining us. And if you are joining us here on Twitch, make sure you follow our channel. If you're following us over on Twitter, please like our tweet so we know that you were there, and leave us a comment, and we'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, we'll wish you an uneventful afternoon, and thanks very much.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks. It was super fun.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you never miss a stream. Follow us at PD Community and PagerDuty on twitch.tv. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you'd like to be on our stream, email us at community-team@pagerduty.com so we can feature the cool things you're doing. And don't forget, check out all of our global events on our calendar at pagerduty.com/events.